He woke up with another scar, clean, precise. Every morning, a new one, carved into his skin like someone was writing a secret only his body could read. 7 days, 7 scars, each one marking the place where someone died, and every line forming a map that leads to only one destination: himself. You think you know yourself until your only body starts confessing crimes you don't remember committing. Welcome back, everyone. And if you're new here, you've just stumbled into the corner of YouTube where nightmares wear trench coats and secrets bleed through the rain. Tonight, we dive into the twisted case of Detective Aidan Voss, a man haunted by his own body, where every scar tells a story, and every story ends with a corpse. Make sure you've got your lights low, your headphones on, and don't look in the mirror after this one. Now let's begin the 7 scars of the split personality. Rain whispered against the window when Detective Aidan Voss woke up. The kind of rain that made the city smell like rust and regret. His head pulsed like a bad hangover, though he hadn't touched a drop in days. He blinked through the blur, fingers tracing across his bare chest, and froze. There it was again, a thin, pale scar, fresh, clean, running from collarbone to rib. It hadn't been there yesterday. It shouldn't have been there at all. He sat up, heart hammering, the dull ache behind his eyes swelling into something like panic. Each scar was different, curved, sometimes jagged, sometimes precise, but always intentional. The first one appeared 3 nights ago, then another, and another. He tried to laugh it off, chalk it up to insomnia or another blackout. But when he looked closer in the mirror this time, something shifted in his gut. The scars weren't random. They connected. A pattern. A map. And somewhere in the city, another body was being zipped into a blast bag. Another accident filed away. Aidan's reflection stared back at him, eyes hollow, lips trembling. He whispered, "What the hell are you trying to tell me?" Rain clung to the city like guilt, heavy, unrelenting, whispering secrets through gutters and alleys. Detective Aidan Voss moved through it like a ghost in his own life, trench coat soaked, eyes hidden behind the brim of a hat that hadn't kept out the weather in years. He hadn't really slept in 6 days, not since the first scar. He told himself he was fine, that he'd seen worse. But every morning, when dawn bled through the blinds, another scar carved its way onto his skin, silent, meticulous, cold, like someone or something was writing on him while he dreamed. He kept photos, notes, measurements, a folder labeled S, because scar files sounded like something a madman would keep. Each image pinned to the board above his desk told a story he couldn't yet read. Tonight, though, there was something different. The scar he found this morning, a jagged curve just below his ribs, matched the outline of a river bend he'd seen in the case archives. The same river where a woman was found 3 months ago, wrists cut open,
the coroner calling it self-inflicted. Only Aiden had been the one to sign that report, and something inside him knew he'd lied. The precinct smelled like burned coffee and disinfectant when he walked in. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, that faint electric drone that made the insomnia worse. His partner, Detective Reeves, looked up from his desk with half a smirk. "You look like hell, Voss." "I feel worse." Reeves leaned back. "You back on the Barlow case?" "Just tying loose ends," Aiden said. His voice was flat, automatic, the kind of tone you use when you don't want anyone to ask questions. He slipped into the archive room. Dim, light, dust motes swirling, old case boxes stacked like tombstones. He found the folder labeled Marlowe, Erica, DLD 1207. He laid the photo out under the lamp. The victim's body lay by the riverbank, her arm scored with surgical precision. The pattern of cuts, parallel, even, almost too clean. And then his stomach dropped. One of the lines on her arm, that shallow diagonal nick near her wrist, was identical to the new scar below his ribs. Same angle, same curve, same faintly puckered edges. His hand trembled. The air felt colder, heavier. He whispered, "What the hell?" That night, he couldn't bring himself to go home. He sat in his car outside his apartment building, rain tapping the windshield like a ticking clock. In the rearview mirror, his eyes looked hollow. The city lights flickered across his face in streaks of gold and blue, making him look like two different people trapped in one skin. He opened the glove box. Inside, a voice recorder. A habit he'd picked up years ago to track his thoughts during cases, but lately the recordings had turned strange. He hit play. Static first, then breathing, heavy, uneven, and then his own voice, only not quite his. "You won't stop me, Aiden, until the map is complete." He snapped it off, pulse racing. That wasn't him. That couldn't have been him. But his fingerprints were on the recorder, and the timestamp was from last night, during the hours he couldn't remember. He stared at his shaking hands, the faint scars glowing under the dashboard light. Maybe the truth wasn't in the cases. Maybe it was in him. By morning, another scar appeared, a small cross just above his hip. He traced it with his fingertip, cold sweat clinging to his skin. He knew that symbol. It marked the abandoned Grace Hill Motel, a crime scene some years back, a supposed overdose. He didn't wait for sunrise. He grabbed his coat and his gun and drove through the wet, sleeping city. Grace Hill sat on the edge of nowhere, paint peeling, sign flickering, rooms long condemned. The smell of mildew and rot hung in the air like a warning. Room 14 was still taped off, yellow ribbon faded to gray. He ducked under it. The air was thick. Dust clung to everything. He turned on his flashlight. Then he saw it. The walls. Dozens of photographs pinned up in patterns. Victims, locations, maps. Each one connected by red string, forming something intricate and deliberate. And in the center, a mirror. He stepped closer. His reflection looked wrong. Eyes darker, face tighter, a smirk that didn't belong to him. A faint whisper filled the room, low, distorted, coming from nowhere and everywhere. "Almost done, Aiden. Just a few more marks to go. He stumbled back, the flashlight shaking in his hand. Then his eyes caught something scrawled across the mirror's edge in dried brown streaks that could have been blood. The body remembers what the mind forgets. His chest tightened, his vision blurred, and as he fell to his knees, the edges of the world folding in on themselves, Aiden realized what terrified him most. Not that someone else was carving the scars, but that it was him all along.
Morning came too soon. The world was gray, washed in rain-lit. Aiden woke on the floor of the Grace Hill Motel, the smell of mold and metal heavy in his lungs. His shirt stuck to his chest, not from sweat but from blood. He lifted the fabric. A new scar, long and cruel, slashed across his sternum, still raw, still bleeding. It formed a jagged line that curved north on the map he'd drawn in his notebook. When he traced it, the pattern clicked together like teeth locking into place. Every scar matched death. Every death followed a path. And that path led straight to him. He tried to breathe, but his chest locked up. He'd seen monsters in his job, but nothing that looked back through his own eyes. The door creaked open behind him. Reeves stood there, gun half raised. His expression was a mix of fear and pity. Aiden? Christ, you've been off the grid for 2 days. Aiden staggered to his feet. How did you find me? Anonymous tip said I'd find the river killer here. Didn't think they meant you. Aiden's heart stopped. What did you just say? Reeves swallowed hard. We got DNA back from the Marlowe case. It's yours, Aiden, under her fingernails, on the blade. The room seemed to tilt sideways. The walls breathed. No, that's not possible. He stumbled back, knocking over a stack of old photographs. They scattered like feathers, each one a crime scene, each one signed with blood and coordinates. Reeves' voice shook. You need to come in, partner. We'll sort it out. But Aiden wasn't listening. He saw it now. The shape the scars made when he traced them across his torso. Not just a map, a symbol. An eye, wide open, watching. And at the center of that eye, the coordinates of his own apartment. He drove through the city like a man possessed. The rain was heavier now, flooding the gutters, washing neon reflections into broken streets. His pulse was a drumbeat in his skull, his breath short, ragged. When he reached his apartment, the lights inside were already on. The front door hung open. He drew his gun and stepped inside. The air was thick with rot and something sweet like perfume left too long in a dead room. He followed the sound of a ticking clock down the hall. It led him to his bedroom. And there on the bed lay a camera. He pressed play. Static filled the screen, then movement. His own hands, my own voice. You can't keep pretending, Aiden. You made me. You needed me. And the camera tilted, showing my reflection in the mirror. Shirtless, pale, my chest already covered in scars. I was laughing. You wanted justice, remember? They walked free. So I made them pay. I made you pay. One scar for every sin you buried. The video flickered, now showing flashes of crime scenes, one after another. Aid standing over each body, whispering to himself as he carved another mark into his skin. When the 7th scar is complete, we'll be whole again. The screen went black. Aiden staggered backward, clutching his head. The room spun. He couldn't tell if the screens were on the recording or in his skull. He looked down, blood seeping through his shirt again. The sixth scar had reopened. The skin beneath it pulsed, as if something beneath was trying to break free. I didn't remember leaving the apartment. The next thing I knew, I was standing on the old overpass, the city stretching below like a dying organism. Sirens wailed somewhere far away. The rain washed my face, mixing with tears I didn't remember shedding. He pulled out the voice recorder. His thumb hovered over record. "This is Detective Aiden Voss. If anyone finds this, I think I've been killing them. I think I've been killing me." Static answered him. Then faintly, that voice again. "My own, yet not my own. You're almost free, Aiden. One last mark." He dropped the voice recorder, staring down at his trembling hands. His palms were bleeding, and beneath the fresh cuts, a new pattern emerged. Not a line, not a map, a name. Voss. When the police arrived, they found his car abandoned, driver's side door open, headlights cutting through the fog. The bridge was empty, except for his coat, neatly folded on the railing. But back at the apartment, the seventh scar appeared. Deep, vertical, running straight down the center of his chest. The coroner noted it was post-mortem, but the wound was too precise, too alive.
They never found Aiden Voss. Only his coat, his gun, and that final scar carved across his chest. The city moved on, as cities do, cleaning its blood off the pavement and pretending it never saw a thing. But in the weeks that followed, strange things began to surface. Case files rearranged themselves in evidence lockers. Recordings disappeared, only to reappear with faint breathing layered under the static. Detectives whispered that sometimes, when the night was quiet enough, you could hear a voice on Channel 9, the same low rasp Aiden used during interrogations, asking, "Do you remember where the scars end?" Some said it was a glitch. Others said it was guilt. But one thing never changed. Every time a new body turned up, the victims bore the same clean, deliberate scars. 7 lines, a map that never stopped growing. You can't kill what was never separate.
And that was the 7 scars of the split personality. Maybe the real horror isn't what hides in the dark, but what hides inside us. If you felt that chill, make sure to hit the like button so more people can lose sleep tonight. Subscribe if you haven't already, because every week we uncover another story that feels a little too real. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, if you wake up with a new scar tomorrow, don't follow where it leads.